Y'all know that meme that says, I probably needed a therapist, but I booked a plane ticket instead? There's been plenty of times where I felt like travel was actually a source of healing for me. And I wonder if you guys have ever experienced that. What about you?
Yeah. It's just kind of freeing on the mind. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you get out there, you can kind of just chill, you get to kind of relax. You can kind of wake up when you want to wake up, even though I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning every day. It feels nice to be able to lay in the bed till 10 sometimes.
Yeah, so it sounds like your body needs rest. And when you travel, you actually get a chance to partake in that rest.
Right. I feel like here in America, everything is so go, 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 go. Or it could be that I haven't built that lifestyle for myself here, which is also a possibility. But I feel like it's always so go, go, go. You having to dodge vehicles and traffic, people crashing into each other, people running red lights. But when you're over there, it's just calming. Being on the road, us on the scooter, it just feels like I'm free. Wind hitting your skin, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And for me, I would say that travel has been a source of healing in a different way. There's been a time, so my very first solo trip to Bali, I went for 6 weeks. But the reason I was leaving and taking that, I guess, break from America, I was leaving Atlanta because I lived there briefly for like 18 months. I didn't last, y'all. But it was the ending of a relationship. And I was like, I'm about to have my time away. I'm about to do this. So I went to Bali. And I guess people say, oh, did you go there for Eat, Pray, Love? I didn't. But it was kind of like an Eat, Pray, Love for me in the sense that I had, I was in a booth, I was doing my yoga, and I was having these really healing experiences. I was meeting a lot of great people, and that really opened me up like, man, I could live abroad. Like, this is amazing. But the way that my body and my mind, everything was able to heal and soothe from the emotional turmoil I had just gone through, it was definitely a healing experience for me being in Bali.
Yeah. That was your first trip abroad?
No, no, that was my first solo trip
Okay.
abroad.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to see when my first solo trip, I think, was a lot of these posts, and you hear me talk, is going to go back to Tim Ferriss in the 4 Hour Work Week. He talked about mini retirements. Yet again, surprise, surprise. But he was talking about doing Japan on $50 a day. And so, growing up watching anime, loving all that kind of stuff, Power Rangers, all that shenanigans, Japan was always at the top of my list. And so, for me, I was like, man, Japan's probably going to be my happy place. The place where I'm not having to think too much. I'm like a kid in a candy store and I can do it all for just $50 a day. I was a skeptic. And so what I did is I followed his playbook to the exact T. And that was like my first big solo trip. And so I was in Japan living it up, $50 a day. I can't believe it. But, I got to see most everything I wanted to see. I wasn't buying everything I wanted to buy or eating everywhere I wanted to eat, of course, at $50 a day. It's hard to do, being that Japan is kind of expensive and it's a larger metropolitan area. But I was able to get away and be kind of free. And so that was kind of the catalyst to, I guess, my therapy in a sense, because being free is something I hadn't really understood before then, and it hadn't been something I'd experienced. And so now I'm over 20 countries later, and we're rocking and rolling. You going? Yeah, yeah. Sign me up. Let me know when. I'll be there.
Hmm. And another experience for me that comes to mind was when my mom passed away. I had already been planning on going to Costa Rica before she actually passed away because I had been helping her with chemotherapy, so I was going back and forth from LA to Cleveland. And I said, well, I still want to be able to travel, and Costa Rica is still on this side of the world, so I can easily take a flight up to Cleveland and do what I need to do, still be there for her. But so I had this trip was already in the works, and so when she actually did pass away unexpectedly, we didn't. I thought she was going to be here for a couple more years, but I decided to still go on the trip. And a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, you're still going? You need to stay here and be with your family and blah blah blah." But actually, being at home was harder for me because I had already moved out of my place in LA, and I was using her home in Cleveland for storage really when I was going to Costa Rica. And so being that there at her house was hard. Like I would wake up every morning and see her pictures and see her stuff, and I'm like, I have to still go. So I went to Costa Rica, and I was there for 2 months by myself. And for me, I called it like my self-healing retreat, because it was a time where I was able to take, it was a lot of introspection, a lot of journaling happening, a lot of, when I was doing my human design work, I was coaching, so I was doing a lot of that work there, but it was a lot of, I keep saying a lot, but it was some good solo, it was some good solo time, and a good time for me to just reflect on everything and decide what life I wanted to create for myself going forward. And I keep coming back to that. But as my mom, that week we realized, okay, she might not be able to make it going forward. I thought, man, she's been my family. I have a family, of course, but my mom was like the center of my family for me. And I'm like, man, I want a family of my own. That's when I decided that maybe it's time for me to settle down and kind of just create my own version of a family. And so during that time in Costa Rica is when I really sat down. I actually took a course called Becoming the One. And so that's where I decided, what is the life that I want to create? What is the kind of partner that I want to create? What do I need to do to become a partner that can have this partner? And so that was in January 2023 when I decided what kind of partner I wanted, what kind of relationship I wanted to create in Costa Rica. And then by the end of the year, I met him. We met yeah, so by the end of that year, I met him. So that healing time in Costa Rica, it changed everything for me, and now it led me to here. Mm-hmm. So travel, healing, yes.
Yes. And I guess alignment is healing too. And so when you are overseas and you're doing these things and you're there for, I feel like longer than 2 weeks will kind of get you to where you understand, like, okay, let me figure out my actual life path and what I want to do. Okay, do I want to live like this? Do I want to just come here for 2 weeks a year, or do I want to figure out how to actually live here for a longer term? And then it starts kind of getting the wheels spinning. Okay, what kind of money do I need to make? Mm-hmm. If I got obligations back home, how much is that going to cost? And so you start to actually put pen to paper and get your actual numbers, and you can figure it out. And then knowing your numbers is healing. If you don't know your numbers, you all over the place. Oh, I got this and that and blah, 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 blah. That, you got some stuff to work on.
It helps to have a target that you're moving toward.
Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I think, that is it for us today. I would encourage you guys to think about, one, we always say think about what you want to create and experience, but is there a place that maybe you need to go to have a little healing moment of your own? And even if you're not traveling abroad, maybe it's you taking a staycation in your city, or, taking a little road trip 2 hours away if you're, depending on where you are. But what do you need to do to have that healing moment for yourself and really be able to create and visualize the life that you want for yourself?
Right. All righty. You got some decisions to make, some stuff to write down, and that's it for us. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Toodles.